So, after 13 years I decided to pick up and replay Final Fantasy XIII. Now you might wonder, why on earth would you replay one of the most hated Final Fantasy game out there? Well, that is because I never hated it in the first place, and I was also feeling nostalgic. Even though it's been over 13 years, I still vividly remember my time with Final Fantasy XIII. Unfortunately though, my old 360 is long gone, probably in the Shadow Realm, so I recently bought the PC version, and despite seeing all the negative comments about the PC performance, it still ran surprisingly smoothly, especially after installing a mod called FF13 Fix. What you guys are seeing right now is gameplay directly from my PC, which is an old gaming laptop from 2014, and I was pleasantly surprised by the performance, as well as the graphics and the overall aesthetics. Despite being 2 generations old, it still managed to impress me with its graphics, and there were plenty of moments where I hid my minimap just so I could take in the scenery. Yes, FF13 is quite a linear game, but I was still immersed in the world of Cocoon and Grand Pulse. I know this is going to sound weird, but the linearity of Final Fantasy XIII didn't bother me that much, and to be honest, it actually felt refreshing. Lately I've been playing so many games with massive open worlds that it could sometimes feel exhausting. Now I do think the game could have benefited more if it were a little bit more open, and the slow pace in the early parts of the game didn't help. Although it does open up around chapter 11 when you reach Grand Pulse, but at that point you're pretty much in the late game. Now the main theme of the story is centered around fate and free will. The game follows Lightning and her crew, who are marked by a deity known as a Fal'Cie, which means that they're bound to a quest called Focus that they have to fulfill. Succeeding their focus will turn them into a crystal, and if they fail, then they'll pretty much turn into a zombie-like creature called a XIII. On top of that, the deity that marked them is also the enemy of their home world, so they're pretty much fucked in every way possible and have to find a way to overcome this impossible challenge. Now, one common criticism of the game story is that it can be difficult to follow, especially with all the terminologies, although as you progress further into the game you'll get a clearer picture of what is going on, and it is mainly done through flashbacks. I personally had no problem with the structure of the story, but I totally understand why many felt overwhelmed in the beginning. Like, there's no exposition or a prologue, the game jumps straight into action where you get to follow Light in her pursuit to save her sister Sarah. But overall I enjoyed the story, and I really liked the cast of characters in Final Fantasy XIII. I know that a lot of people found some of the cast to be annoying, in particular when it comes to Vanille and her happy-go-lucky attitude, but during my revisit I wasn't really bothered. Clearly she was acting all joyful and carefree because she was hiding all the pain that she was going through. You saw that mainly throughout the flashbacks, and something that I picked up during my revisit was that she had a much more serious and darker tone whenever she was narrating her flashback. But yeah, I enjoyed the cast, and Sass is by far my favorite character. I mean, that dude is hilarious, and he also has a pet chocobo in his fro. Probably filled with chocobo shit now that I think about it, but who cares? Anyways, let's switch gears and talk about the battle system. Now, Final Fantasy XIII has quite an interesting battle system. At first glance, it might look like your typical ATB turn-based battle system, but what really makes Final Fantasy XIII unique is the paradigm shift mechanic, where the players can switch between different preset party formations that specializes in different roles. Your goal is to build up stagger gauge, which is more or less the enemy's vulnerability gauge. Once the gauge is filled, the enemy is staggered, they take more damage and are more susceptible to status effects. It is quite a fast-paced battle system, especially the further you get into the game. Picking out individual spells and abilities to cast can be quite hectic, although there is an option to have the game pick out the most effective abilities once you figured out the enemy's weakness. However, this option may not always be the most optimal strategy for certain battles. So as a player, your role is to adapt to the changing battle situation through paradigm shift and understanding enemy weaknesses. And paradigm shifting is something that you will do a lot in this game. Unfortunately though, it takes a while before you can fully see what the battle system has to offer. Getting full control of your party and unlocking all the roles for each character doesn't happen until mid to late game, so you'll have to wait a while in order to see its full potential. It might not be the best battle system out there, but I still had a lot of fun with it. And the same thing can be said about my overall opinion of Final Fantasy XIII. Not the best Final Fantasy game out there, but certainly not as bad as many set it out to be. I enjoyed my time revisiting Final Fantasy XIII, I was pleasantly surprised by the stunning visuals, and it has a very distinct look and feel that sets it apart from the other Final Fantasy games in the series. But yeah, Let me know you guys' thoughts on Final Fantasy XIII in the comment section. I know it's not a fan favorite in the series, but I sure enjoyed replaying Final Fantasy XIII. Thank you for watching this video, and consider subscribing if you're interested in gaming related stuff. Take care, and I'll hopefully see you guys next time.